So in my presentation, I looked at the implementation of international environmental law principles like the principle of sustainable development, the precautionary approach, ecosystem-based management and environmental impact assessment in Antarctica and through the Antarctic governance regimes. And I looked at the status of that implementation and some of the conservation and management measures that have been put into place in Antarctica through the CASPR Convention, the Conservation of Antarctic Marine Living Resources, and the environmental protocol known as the Madrid Protocol. And I also explored some of the current and future challenges for the Antarctic governance regime in adapting itself and responding to climate change, the increasing levels of human activities in Antarctica, and also some additional conventions which are now being negotiated within the UN to conserve and sustainably use marine biodiversity in areas beyond national jurisdiction. Also particularly looked at the jurisdictional ambiguities which exist in relation to the waters around Antarctica and perhaps some of the challenges which states that are both within the Antarctic Treaty Regime and outside the Antarctic Treaty Regime may pose in the future to the environmental integrity of Antarctica if they should choose to extract resources, for instance, from the seabed or overfish Antarctic waters. Firstly, I think the changes which will be brought about by climate change, the warming of the ocean, the differences that will create in the physical environment of the Antarctic continent, the melting of the ice sheets, perhaps the introduction of new marine species, because most scientists are talking about the migration of fish towards the poles as the oceans warm. So that will present a challenge in terms of identifying what those new species will be and then managing to conserve them and sustainably use them. Will that require reviews and amendments to the current governance regime? Do we need to draw more states into the Antarctic Treaty regime? And do we need to speed up the decision-making procedures within the Antarctic Treaty regime, because at the moment they're quite slow. We need to, I think, be conscious that Antarctica as a continent, and particularly the marine areas around Antarctica, the scientific data on the species there is at present quite sparse. We're still learning about the marine areas and what they contain, what species and habitats are within them. And in that sense, we need to still adopt a precautionary approach to the types of activities that we conduct down in Antarctica and place an emphasis or stress the need to do environmental impact assessment on proposed activities in Antarctica. Well, certainly there's a need for more scientific research, and particularly into the marine areas, because it's well known that we don't know, we maybe know 1 million species or 1.5 million species in the deep sea, and there's about 10 million species all up, so it's been estimated. So one of the key research agendas should be for science to continue to find out about the biodiversity within our waters. And that's for both poles. I think that's true for both the Arctic and Antarctica. And we need to be conscious of the governance regimes and where we can adjust them speedily to be able to respond so that Antarctic environmental integrity continues.